it is Jazz here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my to be read for the 2020 Reading Rush. Really love the Reading Rush, and this year it's going to be taking place from July 20th to the 26th. I will link you to the Reading Rush YouTube channel below if you want to know all the info on all the stuff that has to do with the Reading Rush. But I'm going to jump in to what I'm going to be reading for the 7 challenges for this readathon. I can actually use one book for the first 2 challenges, which is always good when you can merge some things together when it's a week-long readathon. Am I right? So the first challenge is to read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone, and the second challenge is to read a book that starts with the word the. My birthstone is sapphire because I was born in September, and it just so happens that I recently purchased The Deep by Rivers Solomon. The story centers around descendants of pregnant slaves that were thrown overboard by slavers, and I'm assuming they became like these merman type creatures. So I think it's going to explore some really interesting concepts, and it's got mermaids in it, which is like my favorite thing ever. On to challenge 3, which is to read a book that inspired a movie you've already seen. So for officialness, I'm going to pick Black Beauty for this. I have seen the movie adaptation of this years ago, haven't seen it in a while, but I remember really liking it. And of course, I've owned this book for a while and definitely have put it on reading lists and have yet to read it. So I'm really excited to give it a go. There are also several books on this reading list that definitely will also count for challenge 3. So even if I don't get to this one and I get to one of the other ones, it'll still work. Fourth challenge is to read the first book you touch. You could go about this many different ways, I assume, but I personally wanted to read a book that was off of my unread paperbacks shelf, if you could call it. It's more like a storage moment, and thus we're gonna cut to me closing my eyes and touching a book on those shelves. So let's jump and see what happened. All right, this is a weird angle, but this is where I keep all of my unread paperback books that I want to pick from. So I'm going to, I guess, touch one of these books. I think I might avoid this section with my closed-eyedness because I do not want to read something that's like 500 pages, but I'm going to stick to like these 2. So I'm about to do my book touching ceremony here. Please be a short book. Oh, I touched 2 books. But I'm gonna go with this one. I swear that I closed my eyes and I did not cheat, but it just so happens that this book is on my 2020 reading list, so I'm really excited that I'm going to get to read it. And this book, because I don't think I said the title in that clip, is Making Bombs for Hitler. So this is a historical fiction set during World War II, if you couldn't tell by the title. And I believe it's about a young woman who gets taken to a work camp and she is forced to make bombs for the Nazis. Challenge 5 is to read a book completely outside of your house. You can do this any way you would like. I'm probably going to read this book on my back porch because I like to read there anyway. So I decided to choose another book from my reading list this year, which is Listen to the Warm by Rod McEwen. And this is a poetry book, so I thought it would be quite easy to read outside quickly, maybe take 2 outside, maybe 3 sessions, or I could read a little bit each day. I also think the title fits summer and outsideness, being that it's called Listen to the Warm. Challenge 6 is to read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of. I've always wanted to read a lot more magical realism. Every time I've read a magical realism, it's usually been a very high-rated book, and I've enjoyed it immensely, but I don't feel like it's a genre or a subgenre that I read very much of. So I'm definitely going to try to read more, and I think for this challenge, I'm going to attempt to read Big Fish by Daniel Wallace. I read Daniel Wallace's book, Kings and Queens of Rome, last year, and I loved it. And so since Big Fish is Daniel Wallace's most popular, well-known book, I think I definitely should check that one out. Also, yet again, a book based on a movie that I've seen, but I remember absolutely nothing about the movie Big Fish. So it will be like reading a news story to me. But I do think that I've seen the movie, I think. So I think it would also count for challenge 3. The final challenge is read a book that takes place on a different continent than where you live. So I'm actually going to choose 2 books for this because I can't decide which one I'm in the mood for and what I'll be in the mood for during the readathon. The first one is The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. This is set in China, I believe, and I don't think I've ever read a book set in China. The other one that I'm also very drawn to reading that is set in the UK is About a Boy by Nick Hornby, which will also count for challenge 3 because I love that movie immensely. I also read Nick Hornby's book A Long Way Down, and I enjoyed that book immensely. So I would really like to read more of his work because he is sort of a humorous writer. So it very much depends on if I'm in a humorous mood with a little bit of seriousness, or if I'm in a literary fiction serious book. I think this is kind of more of a family drama book. Maybe I'll try to read both if time allows. If time doesn't allow, I will pick the one that I'm in the mood for. That is my to be read for the Reading Rush 2020. Drop me a comment below on either any of these books or just to say hello. Really helps out the channel if you do write me a comment in the comments below. And make sure, if you're interested in knowing what I've completed and my thoughts on the books that I've chosen, you follow me on my social media platforms that are linked below. I may vlog this readathon provided nothing crazy happens. Last year we had industrial fans because there was a leak and my floors got destroyed, and it was not a good vlogging opportunity sound-wise. So, provided nothing like that happens this year, there will be a vlog of this readathon. And other than that, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Bye!